So let's talk prescriptions. And I ain't talking about pharmaceuticals. I'm talking about the one thing you already have access to and it's free. Okay, well, it's not exactly free anymore, but anyway, I'm talking about water. Now, from this point forward, I want you drinking spring water every day. Why? Because hydration is how your body detoxes. It's how your mind clears. And it's how your cells carry oxygen, electricity, and energy to every system in your body. And when your cells carry oxygen, electricity, and energy to every system in your body, it's how you stay looking and feeling younger longer. Now, obviously, I can't give you an exact measurement because everyone is a different height, different size, just has different needs. But here's a few things that I want you to think about. Number one, check your urine. If it's dark yellow, you're likely underhydrated. Aim for a light yellow like a pale lemonade, not apple juice. Number two, match water to body and behavior. A petite and shorter frame person, aim for the lower end around 48 ounces or so per day. If you are taller, heavier, or have more mass, aim for more water, 64 to 84 ounces per day. When you're sweating more, you're in hot weather, or eating salty foods, you definitely want to drink more. And if you're eating a lot of fruits, like we say, eating your water, you can get away with slightly less. Listen, if you're only reaching for water when you're thirsty or have cotton mouth, you definitely need to pay attention to not just your body, but that one thing that interferes with your cravings. We'll get back to that in the coming weeks. But my third thing, start and end your day with water. Your body detoxes overnight. Help it out in the rising and sip a little bit before you go to bed, but not too much to interrupt your sleep. Consider adding 1 tablespoon per 8 ounces of key lime or lemon juice. If you happen to be out of either, consider adding a pinch of sea salt, not the salt with that little girl holding the umbrella, singing in the damn rain. We're talking about sea salt, right? There's a big difference between sea salt and iodized salt. Key lime juice, lemon juice, sea salt in your water, they all help boost hydration, absorption, and give your body the minerals it craves, because it's not about what you take, but what your body absorbs. So remember, plain water flushes, mineralized water nourishes. Now, if you're able to get pure coconut water straight from the tree, you're living. Coconut water is the absolute best, and it should be you and your kids' new sports drink. No, like seriously. Especially if you can't stand the taste of just plain water, get coconut water. If you can, get the kind that's in a carton, but be sure it's 100% coconut water. Now, let's talk types of plain water. So first of all, don't buy into the hype. Alkaline, structured, ionized waters. I know we talk about alkalizing breaths, and soon we'll talk about alkalizing foods, but water, nah. Don't even waste your time or your money. Research bluntly says there is not any evidence to support choosing bottled alkaline water over regular bottled water. Many claims around special water types like high alkaline, ionized, raw, and unfiltered, they all lack robust clinical trials or peer-reviewed evidence. Now, what types should you drink? If you have access, according to unbiased, peer-reviewed research, spring water is hands down the best for consumptions for humans. If you can get it straight from the spring, God bless you. If not, then bottled spring is the next best. Overall, it doesn't matter if it's made by the big brand names or not, spring water is just that. However, I will say, I've seen stacks of plastic bottled water left out in the sun at gas stations and grocery stores, and it just turns my stomach. Now, this is a major reason why I try my best to get glass bottles of water when I can, because I don't remember seeing those outside. So it may be something to how different the companies treat their products. Now, glass bottles of water can definitely be pricey. However, your gut may thank you. If you bloat easily, you may deal with tiny holes in your gut causing digestive issues, but that can also be caused by eating acidic foods and just touching certain types of plastic and other things that we'll talk about later on in the program. Okay, the second best, and I would go as far as to say only when spring water isn't available, the next would be mineral water. Now, personally, The taste for me, no bueno. But if you're headed toward dehydration, which simply means if you're only drinking when you're a bit parched, then you're already dehydrated. Try your best to sip all day long if you can on water, and also drink when you're not eating. Try to have your last sip of water 30 minutes before eating a meal, and then again 30 minutes after you finish eating. Other than that, sip all day long. Now, I've had one interesting experience with distilled water. One of my clients had a negative reaction to some herb that he bought online. It was so bad that he passed out for nearly 7 hours. Now, this is why you should work with an herbalist one-on-one and be very careful when doing these random cleanses that you guys find online. But anyway, my herbalist told him to sip on some distilled water for about 24 to 48 hours to help him revive. He felt much better within just a few minutes, actually. Intrigued by this, I looked it up to see what was so magical about distilled water. What had happened was, distilled water isn't some miracle detox potion. It's just water that's been boiled, turned into steam, and condensed back down so that most of the minerals and the metals and the contaminants are removed. So in other words, it's very much pure H2O with very low mineral content. So from a science standpoint, there's no strong evidence that distilled water pulls toxins out of the body or leaches minerals from your bones the way some folks on the internet claim. Short term, your body handles distilled water like any other clean water source. It helps maintain blood volume, supports kidney filtration, and gives your system a break from whatever was irritating it. Long term, experts actually don't recommend relying only on demineralized water because a lack of calcium, magnesium, and other minerals in drinking water have been associated in some studies with higher risks of certain issues like cardiovascular problems and bone health concerns. That's why that the World Health Organization notes that very low mineral water isn't ideal as your only daily drinking water over time. So most likely what helped my client wasn't that distilled water has magical powers. It seems that it was he stopped taking the herb and the body stopped reacting to it, right? He was hydrating steadily with very clean water, which supported his kidneys and circulation. And third, his body finally had a calm window to recover without more irritants coming in. So distilled water played a supporting role by being simple, clean, and easy on the system in that moment. But it wasn't a standalone cure. It's a tool, not a savior. And just like with herbs, it's important to understand when something is helpful, for how long, and in what context, instead of turning it into the next miracle trend. Now, let's talk about other waters. Purified, enhanced, electrolyte infused, pH balanced, ionized, vapor distilled. Half of it is just marketing dressed in a lab coat. And speaking of crap, Dasani and Aquafina, do you know who makes them? I'll give you one good guess. Yes, the same billion-dollar companies who sells soda, energy drinks, and snacks that literally are engineered to make you thirstier. So let's apply some common sense. If a company knowingly sells you products that's dehydrating, addictive, and inflammatory, it's not highly likely that they're losing any sleep trying to make sure that your bottled water is pristine and nourishing. Now, on the surface, water is water, but these bottled beverages is not just water. It's filtered municipal water, which means tap water that comes from the city or the county treatment system, which minerals are stripped out, then branded, bottled, marketed, and then sold back to you at a 300% markup. And if you haven't noticed, almost every aisle in the grocery stores is owned by the same 8 to 12 multinational corporations, from beverages to snacks to frozen foods to cereals to fast food partnerships. They dominate the whole supply chain. So when people say all of a sudden these companies care about health, I just blink slowly. Because the same companies who spent decades pushing soda, chips, preservatives, dyes, petrochemicals, endocrine disruptors didn't have a sudden spiritual awakening in 2020. They just didn't want to miss out on the vegan, fitness, and health dollar. Trust me, corporations don't do morality. They do margins. But anyway, let's bring it back to water because this is the part that actually matters today. Most people are walking around chronically dehydrated and don't even know it. I've sat in rooms at family gatherings for hours and noticed I'm the only one getting up to go to the bathroom. Everybody else is just sitting there like camels in drought. And then I realized they weren't drinking water at all. And if they were, it wasn't water, right? It was beverages that literally pull water out of the body. So like coffee, energy drinks, sodas, teas loaded with sugar, smoothies masquerading as health food, and alcohol, the king of dehydration. Those drinks don't hydrate you. They steal hydration from you. So people think that they're tired or cranky and moody, hungry or craving sugar, but half the time, they're just thirsty. And here's the kicker. When the body is dehydrated, it can't transport minerals, can't regulate temperature, can't clear toxins effectively, can't digest well, and it definitely can't run peak metabolism. So of course cravings go up, of course energy goes down, and of course mood tanks. Dehydration is the silent saboteur. So when I say we need more water, I don't mean another bottle of Dasani or Aquafina. I mean water that actually hydrates with minerals, with conductivity, with life, not just marketing. Hydration isn't about just drinking water though. It's about absorbing it. And one of the fastest ways to feel better is also one of the simplest. Drink water and add your own minerals.